Hello everybody, Average Gamer here, and welcome to a very special video. So, over the last little while, if you don't pay... Oh, that's loud. That is very loud. If you don't pay attention to the Supreme Ruler, the Battle Goat Discord, you may not have heard or have seen this. But I am in the process of trying out some modding. Learning how to mod the game, figuring out how to mod the game, and the first thing I wanted to mod in were just some generic infantry units, and I worked them in and figured out how they work and all that stuff. Then I thought, well, can I make a mod pack? And then I thought, well, one thing this game has is everyone wants to take over the world. And if everyone wants to take over the world, well, why don't we have it so that the world just burns? By that I mean, why don't we play the game as zombies? That's right, zombies. So what I've done is I've come into the game, I've modded in zombies myself, changed all their options and all that stuff within the game files, so that we have zombies. First, we must research them. I'm also going to be ordering my ministers here to do a few things. Once the unit shows up, I'll show you guys just like some of the stats of it. The theory behind it is that the unit will be low damaging, high taking damage. So I got it set right now as a tank, because literally that's what it's going to do. It's going to tank a lot of damage. It's going to absorb a lot of damage and give it a little bit. The point for this is to slowly advance around the world, town by town, village by village, unit by little area, until the entire world is a zombie nation or Z nation. That's the plan. The other part of the idea and the hope is that we can also set it up so that the units themselves make the units, meaning that a zombie, when it's deployed, counts as a land fabrication unit. If I can somehow get that going, which I believe today's currently the 14th. I'm going to be trying it tomorrow today's the 14th. I'll be trying it probably the next day or two to get land fabrication working with the units themselves. So every time a zombie is deployed, it creates another land fabrication, which will then start building another zombie. Then after 3 days, it will auto-deploy that zombie to its location. And you will now have 2 zombies, each producing now a zombie in 3 days. So in 3 days' time, you have 2 zombies. In 6 days' time, you've got 4. In 9, you've got 8. And it will just have an exponential growth like that. The plan will also be to have the game set up so that you start with a town or a village or a city, and that is it. Just one town, one city, one village, but specifically with one single zombie unit. That's all you have. It'll make sure that the game is set up so that there is 0 upkeep, 0 everything for demand for all of this stuff down here. It'll all be zeroed out, so it will never go above 0 at all. Theoretically, we'll have to figure out just how good at this I'm going to get. But the plan is going to be to create this massive zombie force to invade the world. So I'm just going to finish setting up a few things here before we get going. I think we're good to go. So I've noticed that being on fast is good. The other thing too is that we'll have to actually declare war. The hope is that in the other version of the game, we won't actually have to declare war. We will just naturally be at war with everyone around us. Now the hope is that once I get going, once the first zombie unit is spawned, the theory would be to then declare war on the countries you're bordering, basically. And then just every nation, just exponential growth when it comes to countries and declaring war. So once we get this research done, we're actually going to put it on fast. I'm also just going to save ourselves some... Oh yeah, those guys are just going to crash. Well, that worked out. I'm also going to deploy all of these guys. These are just our regular units. I'm going to order all them to scrap as well. And the plan is to basically scrap everything but our zombies. So zombies will be good to go in roughly 12 days. I'm going to throw in a whole bunch of money into our research efficiency just to try and get this done faster. There we go, 9 days, 8. And once this is done, we're then going to start. So the theory is, and we're going to have to be role-playing a little bit. So what's going to happen is, in this little military base here, they're currently researching some sort of genetically altered soldier or something like that here in Burundi. Now, research has been completed. Now they're going to try real trials, right? So now they're actually going to try and produce this new unit, this super soldier, so to speak. Next door, Rwanda, who we're in good terms with, has already said, don't do it, it's not a good idea. Well, we're going to change that. What I'm also going to do, we're going to do a little cheating here. This is because I haven't been able to get the production part to work yet with the zombies, so this is the best I can do. Alright, so that's now done. I'm gonna just turn that back off, right? That was that one, right? It's been a while since I've ever actually used any of these things, so that should build these things in one day. Perfect. Done. Okay. Yeah, you'll also notice we are playing on very easy difficulty for diplomacy and economy. That's because I don't want to worry about all this stuff, because theoretically we shouldn't have to. We're going to turn that off so we don't see that anymore. And we're going to turn those off so we don't see those anymore either. Alright, so now, as this nation, we're going to start the production of the advanced infantry unit. Now, unfortunately, the moment these things get built, they will start deploying because they're going to break out of their cages, so to speak. Actually, not yet. So what's going to happen is we're going to start building these units. Now, what's going to happen is, in a role-playing-esque way, what will happen is we're doing all this research, right? We're building these, what we think are super soldiers. We're noticing that, they'll do whatever they're told and all this stuff. They're being controlled with electroshock therapy and things like that. But then we're noticing certain things don't quite make sense. Like, for example, they can be killed only if you hit them in the head. We're noticing that, they have this insatiable thing just to eat meat. They also have really loud audio. I had to reset all my audio, so let's turn you down. They also have a whole bunch of other little idiosyncrasies that we weren't quite expecting in our trials on current soldiers in our military. And well, we're getting a little nervous. We're having internal discussions within the military whether we should be getting rid of these people, if they are even people. Internally to our nation, they're having a large discussion as to, is it right to what we're doing? Should we be really doing this? Let's increase military salaries. And, yeah, let's just increase training. And, all these things about rights occur and all this stuff, but someone decided one night, February 19th, that they were going to make the decision for everybody. This individual walked into the we'll call it the holding facility for these 35 entities and decided to release them. Broke in, killed a couple guards, hit a button, and released every single one of them. And I mean, this person released all of them. Within 3 days, our nation of Burundi is now completely overrun by these things. So much so that there's actually 40 of them now. There's actually more of them now than there was at the start. Next door in Rwanda, they are having, we'll say, some significant issues with what's going on in our nation. They want to know why this is occurring. It's now the 29th. There's now 50 of these units. I'm trying to get them all deployed as best I can. It's now March 3rd, and there's almost 60 of them. Currently 55. On March 4th, Rwanda declares that its military will take the appropriate action to safeguard its nation and the surrounding nations in regards to this quote-unquote viral outbreak in Burundi. With the noise of the vehicles and many other things, these animals, not so much humans, start wandering outside of the capital and start wandering north. Why north? Because that's to help the story go along. On March 5th, the audio in this game is really loud. On March 5th, Rwandan troops engage these so-called entities. With really no knowledge of what they are, what they want, and what they're doing. On March 6th, the small town of, however that's pronounced, falls to these quote-unquote invaders. The military, still not knowing what this is still calling this a border action at this point. Not really giving information to many people around the world as to what exactly is taking place. The UN's been barred from taking pictures in the hopes that Rwanda could help safeguard, people from what the Burundi military may or may not have done. On March 8th, there's massive firefighting around whatever the town of this is called. As well as around the military facilities in western Rwanda. Near the capital of Rwanda, it's reported that some of these things have been seen, as well as in the eastern sections of the country. It's been reported that the military, though has slowed down these things, has not been able to really do anything. Though in the end, certain areas that are fortified, such as the town in the east of Rwanda and the town in the west of Rwanda, have been holding out quite well, as they've turned their towns into medieval fortresses with massive ramparts on the walls, using cars, buildings, you name it, to keep these things out. Just making sure that they actually auto-deploy here. It's been reported that garrison units in the west and in the east have been taking casualties. But it also states that a lot... Perfect, it is auto. It is being stated that there has been a significant number of these things. These almost like animals, but humans, that are marching closer and closer towards the capital. On March 11th, a warning has been issued by the Rwandan capital, telling people to stay indoors, or if possible, to flee to the north, and possibly towards the country of Uganda. Stating that the capital, and anything south of the capital, is no longer safe. On March 12th, a town west of the capital of Gitarama has been in a situation where people believe that the individuals that were protecting that town and possibly besieging it were turned around and were actually defeated and stopped from capturing the town. Upon which time it comes to realization that they were actually stopped. Rumor is that they were using artillery and airstrikes to just completely obliterate these things. On March 13th, they came back. En masse. And took the town. In doing so, also then assaulted the military airbase and put more pressure west of the capital. On March 14th, it was also announced that with towns falling in the northwest areas of Rwanda, that it's possible that the country may be cut off from Uganda in the coming days, while towns in the east and the west are still holding out in pockets of resistance. airstrikes from the Rwandan Air Force became daily, hourly. We're being, we'll say, done. To the point upon which the pilots were going days without sleep. Weeks without sleep. All they were doing was constantly getting in their aircraft, flying and dropping a significant amount of bombs on towns, villages, and possibly even people, to try to stem this tide of horror. On the 16th of March, it was announced that the road going north from the capital into Uganda will most likely be cut off in the following days. They also announced that the towns in the east, specifically actually the towns in the west, will not be supplied any longer, will no longer be assisted. Due to this, the remaining town outside of the capital area in the east of Rwanda was reported to have fallen. Rumors have it that on the 17th, these things came over the walls and devoured all within the borders. It was also reported by the Air Force on March 17th that they may not be able to hold on to the Air Force base much longer. It was stated by the military to the Rwanda government that at this moment they believe the nation is lost, and requested that the Rwandan government approach the United Nations and the nations around it, in hopefully securing support to stop whatever this is. On March 19th, the government declared a state of emergency and stated that the military base and the capital have been cut off.
We took their capital.
On March 20th, the guns went silent. Or not. The government fled to the town. Oh, look at that for timing, eh? To the town, remaining town, in western Rwanda, saying they will fight to the dying last breath, to whatever they need to do to make sure that they survive. Brains. That's what these guys are. On March 23rd, the countries of Uganda, Tanzania, and the Congo Dominican Republic all stated that due to the current military action taken by Burundi on Rwanda in retaliation for the Rwandan prevention or preventive action associated with the Burundi medical experiments, have all stated that they are now in a state of war with Burundi. Military forces from the Congo and the other two nations immediately started laying siege and assaulting locations known to harbor these individuals from the nations. All three nations publicly denounced these so-called medical experiments as acts of bioterrorism and stated that they would not be, nor will they ever be, acceptable in their eyes. Massive amounts of artillery, infantry, tanks, personnel carriers, you name it, were deployed and are being deployed en masse. In conjunction with these actions, the military of most of these nations are hoping that their actions can stave off, slow down, do whatever it is that they need to do to stop whatever this is from happening. On that note, I'd like to thank everyone for watching the very first episode of whatever this is. So remember, this is still a work in progress mod. Lots of editing still to be done, lots of things to be tweaked. The plan is to obviously get these units to the point where, we can get these slow working zombies or slow moving zombies spread out around the world, take over everything, having them build and deploy on their own, and just slowly but surely advance. With that in mind, thanks for watching. I'll see you guys in the next episode. Bye-bye.